No empty calories on this version of Warchant TV. I'm Aslan Hajavani, joined by Michael Langston. Use the promo code Warchant30 for 30 free days of access to the ultimate Seminoles sports source, or you can just like and subscribe to our YouTube page. You should do both, but, we get it if you don't want to spend money all the time. Anyhow, Michael, no empty calories. As we said, good news on the recruiting front for Florida State. They got somebody at a position of need, right?
Yep. Kimo Makaneole from Niceville, Florida. FSU's been active with him, turned up the heat a lot with him during this late spring. And when the pandemic started, FSU really started hitting him up. Can play offensive tackle, center, or guard, so that's a good thing. He's very flexible. Plays mainly offensive tackle. I get the impression FSU is going to first bring him in as offensive tackle, see how that works. So I think he could play a number of positions. I don't think there's a set position, but this was one where I felt like, and I've kind of hinted to people, like if FSU offers, they're going to be very high on his list. And my Niceville contact had told me if FSU offers, he's going to commit, and I think it's going to be committing right away. And certainly that's what happened in FSU adding this guy. Certainly big news for FSU to get a guy that Texas A&M, Louisville, Mississippi State, those kind of schools were on. Clemson and Georgia, or Clemson and Alabama were kind of hitting him up a little bit to try to get into the picture. He's a kid that's kind of blown up this spring, and certainly I think a big thing is just adding a guy that's so versatile and can do so many things in that offensive line.
How did this all kind of come about? Again, Michael, we're in a dead, quiet period for Florida State to grab a guy who's at a position of need and looks like a pretty good prospect right there as you watch him decleat somebody practically. How did the Florida recruitment all kind of come about, and how did it culminate in him committing when he did?
Well, I think it all came about. Obviously, he developed a really good relationship with Coach Atkins. That was a big part of it. And I heard from some of my sources with Niceville area that the mom who graduated from BYU, by the way, was very impressed with Atkins, because Atkins really told Kimo all the bad things he were doing before he even really evaluated him. He told him hey, this is what you're doing wrong. And she really loved that, because that made her feel like, hey, this coach is going to take care of my boy. I mean, because he's sitting here telling her all the bad things he's done. So I think it was a big deal to go ahead and develop that relationship. And he had already. We did an article earlier this spring that he was already very high on FSU, and he told me if FSU offers, they're going to be very high on my list. And so you could really tell that this was a kid that was waiting for that FSU offer. Now, did I think he was going to commit back then? Probably not if he got the offer, but pandemic speeds things up. And I think the comfort level was so high with FSU, and the fit was there so high. Plus, I think another big thing is the location is very good. Niceville is not a long ways away, from Tallahassee. So it's a short drive. Family can see him play. But I think it was the love and the connection that he had with Coach Norvell and the culture he's developing, and just the fit of how Kimo fits to their system of what they run. It's a very high intense offense that run and pass, and I think Kimo fits that in every possible way. Very athletic kid, very very explosive feet. As you've seen with a lot of these clips, he can finish very well, very good finisher. So I think he's a guy that has a really high ceiling when you watch his game. So certainly a big pickup for FSU after losing Jake Slaughter.
I know we always try to talk about comps. Man, he looks nasty. Like he's got like Dante Lucas in him. It looks a little bit like him, man. And we see him flex outside, obviously playing tackle, but also on the interior. Nasty sort of blocking guy, just what the doctor ordered, seems like, right?
Yeah, it is. And I think, and the good thing about him is I think he's athletic enough that he can easily play the center position if you need him to play there. You have Bryson Estes, who also could play the center position. But I think what I like about this kid is just the versatility that, they aren't even sure, even a set position, because he's so adequate in all three of those places. I personally like him in the interior, just in the film I've seen, just the way he kills people in the run blocking, and just the way, his flexibility and his explosive hips as far as how he gets off and how he handles the blocks. I really like him in the interior. Offensive tackle seems to be a way they're probably going to start off with. So, we'll see how that goes. But either way, it's a massive pickup when you talk about a guy that's really blowing up this spring in Kimo. And just it tells you about, and I've said this before, relationships are going to be a big deal as far as them landing kids. And this is one of those where Atkins really made a big first impression, and they capitalized on it, and they kept the momentum going. And And then today, here we are, FSU lands another commitment on the offensive line.
Kimo Makaneole. You almost couldn't figure a better name out for an offensive lineman. We'll see how that all pans out for Mike Norvell and the Noles. Michael Langston giving us the best recruiting news on the FSU beat. Michael, as always, thanks for your time, man.
You got it, man. Thanks.
Hit the like